So the pendulum swing. So a pendulum swing, when you're dealing with self-development, anything that you learn or that a lot of people do learn, and it can be you take on running and you enjoy running, and running is so divine, and you go to gym and you get addicted to that fitness, right? But it gets like so bad that you actually, like, the pendulum goes from right from the middle, or from this side where you were doing no gymming, to suddenly everything is gymming, and the pendulum swings so far, and everything is all about the running or the gymming or the activity. A lot of that can come down to your learning about life, about your awareness, about your awakenings, about your self-development, about your spiritual work. Anything that you're learning, kids at school where they're learning about soccer, and everything then is soccer, 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 soccer. Dad, this about soccer, that about soccer, coloring in. Teacher said this, teacher said that. I'm learning this. And that's on a small scale because they're little, and with kids, they go from one thing to the next, but the wonder that actually comes through, and that experience of the wonder in life, it's so wonderful to actually see adults achieve that. Because as we're growing, we lose the sense of wonder. You hear birds in the trees and you say, oh, it's a bird. You go through the Pilansberg Nature Reserve or any game park, and it's just trees, right? And you don't actually see the specifics anymore. But when you start learning the specifics, or you learn something new, or you actually acquire that awakening to a new skill or a new environment or new everything, it can actually be so wondrous that becomes your entire focus, and that pendulum swings completely. It's incredible how it can actually happen. But it happens in depression as well. It happens down the negative side of life as well. When you go into a dark space, you go into a dark space. Depression can be super depression. Anxiety can just completely take over your whole world. It becomes an obsessive situation until you actually learn to understand, and it all settles. Like moving house, you want to get your life so organized and settled, and you want to pack all the cupboards, and you want to sort out all the things. Your garden, you want to get the garden all working so beautifully. Everything in life does a pendulum swing. Anything that's new, any situation that happens, and which is okay, but it's good to be aware of it. Good to be aware of it. So when the angers and the anxieties and the frustrations and all the other emotions that come into these situations, the excitedness and the over enthusiasm, over happiness, over the overness of everything, the too much of starts to get too much for other people. They don't understand what you're going through, right? So it can create arguments, and it creates discomfort, and it can create dis-ease in a situation. You start getting sick because it becomes too much. It's too much of a change. It's too much of the energy of the thing, the situation, the circumstance, scenario, the emotional upheaval, the death in the family, the emotion of the shock of all these shifts that actually happen in our lives can be too much for people, and it creates all these different emotional upheavals, and that I call the pendulum swing. And the pendulum swing has swung too far. The teenager meets boyfriend, wants to be with him all the time, wants to be there every night. Mom, can I sleep over during the week? I'm like, no, you can't. Oh, but why? Are you so unfair? His family say it's okay. I'm like, yeah, okay, I have my reasons. And then you have to go down the reasons of why. And to get them to see the light of day, or to get the other person to see the light of day of what you trying to explain to them, can be very, very difficult. But you got to stick to your guns. You got to own the situation. You got to know why you're wanting it. You got to have a backup to what your argument, you're feeling, and of why you've made that decision. Obviously, a parent guiding a teenager, you've gone through your own experiences. You're protecting them. Then you can overprotect. Overprotecting, you have to sit and think, am I overprotecting, or am I being unreasonable? What is my reason for doing what I'm doing? Why am I actually, standing my ground? And standing your ground is another process. You need to own it. You can over own it, by the way. You can be over confident. You can be over arrogant. You can be over whatever your defense mechanism is in any given scenario, or what you can be over controlling. Okay? And that's pendulum swinging. But the psyche of the human, the ego of a human, cannot hold for long. When I say cannot hold, it could do 10 years, right? I divorced my ex-husband. The ego game went on for a good 10 plus years, but it doesn't stay. So if you can work a process, and if you can work within your centeredness, and you can center yourself in any given scenario and say, okay, we're going to work through the motions. When you go through the motions, it is going to settle, because the pendulum will swing back this way and it will swing this way. And if you've ever watched a pendulum, or those balls that knock against each other, they go far and eventually they settle until they find their center. The same with the human beings, emotional upheavals, any scenarios that carry on, everything will eventually settle. The trick is being aware of the extremes that we can go to, okay, and see them as just the extremes, and allow people to have their processes, and allow people to think what they think, feel what they feel. If you can detach, let go of these scenarios. Letting go can be let go to come back to, if you have that intention, and you can do that. Detaching is detaching, understanding the situation, and remain connected to help support people, as long as you're supporting from a space of strength, allowing people to go through their processes, so that when things settle and come down to earth, we can all breathe again and have decent conversations again. Understand every scenario, and everybody goes through it. As much as you'd like to think you're as stable as possible, everybody has a situation where the pendulum is going to swing. You're going to watch it, you're going to see it around you, you're going to get drawn into the dramas, but be aware, break it down, be aware of what's going on. If you struggle with these awarenesses, if you struggle in these scenarios, you're more than welcome to email me at livesmartfd@gmail.com. LiveSmartFD for foundational development, where we're learning about self-development, what has happened in any given scenarios. We're all going through our issues. So livesmartfd@gmail.com. Email me your circumstances, your issues, your situations. Let's discuss it. Let's see how we can actually break open the pod, expose all the vulnerabilities, see every angle of the situation, and try and put it on a foundation that we can actually build strength from, grow strength from, and develop and grow, helping each other evolve along our paths. The pendulum swing is a real thing. It's hectic. And if you can understand that that's what it is, that's great. If you know what it is and you don't know how to deal with it, reach out. If I don't have answers, I'll find others that can help us with answers. I don't know everything. I'm still growing. I'm still developing. I've come to a point where I believe people need to share more, need to actually burst open these pods and help each other forward. We can't keep hiding from all our issues. People can't think that everybody's perfect anymore. I think those days are done. I mean, if you look around, people are a lot more out there, aren't they? So why not bring out our issues? Pull it out. Let's help each other, issue to issue, situation to situation. Where there are strengths, others have weaknesses, and so those weaknesses have strengths, and we can all help each other. Let's help me with this movement through Live Smart Foundational Development. Moving forward thinking, changing the thinking, growing our thinking, opening up our worlds, and let's see where Live Smart's movement, foundational development, can actually go. Person to person, group to group, community to community, and so forth. I look forward to the fourth being with us.